A Super Bowl champion.
The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl.
The Packers' all-time leading scorer.
A game winner for Mason Crosby.
It's time for the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nelles, presented by Verizon, the #1 network in Milwaukee, on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook and on the free Odyssey app.
Welcome in to the Mason Crosby Show, live from the 1250 AM, 105.7 FM The Fan studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Tommy Wirtz in for Mitch Thunder Nelles with the Packers' all-time leading scorer, Mr. Crosby. How are we?
It's good to be back. Jumping on a plane yesterday and just some medium-sized news. Just a little medium-sized news. But who saw this coming? I mean, we've talked about this till we're blue in the face, and I mean, nobody expected this to happen. Nobody expected. I mean, Jerry Jones, something's going on there. The fact that he would send his best player to the Green Bay Packers, who they cannot beat, even with MICAH Parsons, it just blows my mind. So we got an awesome guest lineup, and we got to get to our first one right off the bat, and he's going to tell us why this was a wild thing. Our boy, our guy, been with us a couple times, Andrew Brandt, coming on
the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. Mr. Andrew Brandt, you are on the Mason Crosby Show. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, guys. This goes down as one of the big moments in Packers history, along with drafting Mason Crosby.
Yep. Well, I think they go hand in hand usually.
Yeah, which I was lucky to be a part of. I'm not part of this. And, as you know, Mason, a lot of people look at me and say, hey, that's the guy that knows what's happening in the NFL. That's the guy that knows what's happening with the Green Bay Packers. Everyone should listen to him. Well, I was wrong. I was totally wrong.
I saw your tweet.
Yeah, I went on radio, TV, podcast, my newsletter, my column. There's no way that he's going to get traded. And in the rare event that he might be traded, no way it's going to be the Packers.
Right.
Because and then the reason I said it is, from Ron Wolf to Ted Thompson to Brian Gutekunst, same lineage, they love their high draft picks.
For sure.
They are not a team that's going to trade up multiple picks to get higher in the draft. They're a team that's going to trade down to get more picks. They draft and develop. It's the draft is the foundational principle of the Green Bay Packers. And I thought, no way they're giving up 2 1s, which is going to be the minimum requirement for Parsons. And of course I was wrong. Here's what I underestimated. I underestimated the lack of trust and breach of trust between Jerry Jones and Parsons and the agent. Because we followed this, over the past couple of years. They wait, give the top of the market deal. Dak Prescott, CD Lamb. It's a common theme. And I said to the whole world, this will happen. And on September 1st or 2nd, Parsons will get a $42 million a year deal and everybody will be happy. And I expected that, but I underestimated what went on there. And I'm finding out little bits and pieces that this was not like Lamb or Prescott. We'll get to the Packers in a minute, but for the Dallas side, this was a problem. They did not get along. There was something happened. And I think what happened is something we used to call back in the day, way before I was even with the Packers, when I was an agent, it was like hotboxing. You get a player in the room, you sweet talk him, you tell him how great he is, you tell him all this money you're going to pay him, and you shake hands like you have a deal. And this is what old GMs used to do and old owners. And
this is a Jerry Jones classic, right? I mean, that's like his MO.
And he did it, and I don't know how Parsons felt about it, but the agent, who's a big player, David Mulligetta, did Jordan Love, did Deshaun Watson, and he's not having it. So Jones tells the media last week, the agent told me to stick it up his ass, and I kind of laughed, but then I realized that's real.
Yeah.
This agent's not going to deal with Jones. So that sort of hinted at me oh man, Like maybe this is more than an unhappy player. And again, I thought like Myles Garrett in Cleveland, yeah, you satisfy him with a huge contract. But this was more than that. So the Packers pounced on an opportunity. And my experience with the Packers, as you know, is, yeah, we get a little bit of a bad pub for not being aggressive, but we've been aggressive on the free agent side with the first big free agent in history, Reggie White. And then when I was there, when you were there, Mason, we jumped on Charles Woodson.
Yep.
And since then, obviously, Julius Peppers and Xavier McKinney, but never on the trade side. Never on the trade side. Last time they traded number one was for Brett Favre.
Yeah,
so
that's what
I'm like, sure. So they did it. And I'm still in shock because, well, I think we'd come to this, and then I'll shut up. I think you never see it, right? You never see a player with multiple Pro Bowls get traded unless they're 29, 30, 31, 32.
Exactly.
This guy in his prime, like at the peak of his prime. And the Packers jumped. It's totally out of character. It is never something you would think of, like I said, about the Packers. But wow, it's a game-changing moment in our history of the sport, really.
Oh man, I'm like getting chill. Like just hearing you kind of talk about some of the nuance to it. It just kind of gets me fired up and gives me chills. We have Andrew Brandt on the Mason Crosby show. We were talking all things Micah Parsons, how this trade stuff works. I want to talk specifically on some of the finance side of it, because also they sent Kenny Clark down and like are going to carry $35 million still in salary cap from his, what the rest of his deal was through this year. So, I mean, what a big leap. I mean, you go and now you have two players making $100 million this year in Jordan Love and Micah Parsons, which is the first time, like the only duo in the NFL doing that. And like, just when you think of the Green Bay Packers, that's not like how they normally operate. So tell me, if you were in that room, if you were still holding that position, like the cap manager, all that, like what is the accounting juggling of like getting this kind of a deal done to be able to kind of keep this team afloat for not just this year, but years to come?
Yeah, a lot to unpack here. And Mason, I was the guy, as you know, for 10 years. So I get chills thinking about what Russ Ball's pressure was, the guy who's sitting in the seat that I sat in. Because
they bring this deal to him. They're like, all right, figure it out, man.
Yeah.
We got to get this
exactly done. So imagine this. Brian Gutekunst walks down the hall and says, we're trading for Micah Parsons if you get a deal done. like that is pressure.
That's right.
So it's also high leverage for Parsons and the agent. It's high leverage. So I read about 4 years, 188. So really it's 5 years because you roll in the existing year of 22. So it's 210 over 5, which is an average of 42. It's not 47, but 42 still the highest non-quarterback in the history of the sport. And we'll see on the guarantees. When I heard 120, I said, okay, it's 3 years, 40 a year. And then, what I say, like, we'll see about the rest.
Exactly.
And then Mulugeta, the agent, sort of tweets me back and says, no, it's a real deal, or whatever he said. And we'll see, but it's a strong, strong deal. But he was going to be, I think, the highest paid non-quarterback in history.
Isn't that's like the wild part, right? It's like, I mean, it's seemingly like the Cowboys were seemingly willing to pay him that number as well. Like, how does that go so bad there in Dallas? Like, just, talk about that a little bit more, that relationship. And then I have like kind of a, an interesting question for you as well on the Packers side, but just talk, how does that go so bad that you have an offer on the table of $42 million a year? Like they're willing to pay you that, but you just can't get a deal done. And then this whole big trade happens.
Well, first of all, how I talk about guarantees and real deals. And my sense is the Dallas deal was probably different. where you did have the big number, but maybe it was only, and Jerry Jones gives out huge bonuses. So maybe it was even like a $60 million bonus. But after the first 2 years, it's kind of, you got to earn it. And there was some roster bonuses they could get out of it. Maybe, I don't know, but we haven't even seen the Packers deal. I'm sure it's strong, but I keep getting back to something about this was different. And it was different than Myles Garrett in Cleveland. It was different than CeeDee Lamb. It was different than Dak Prescott, where they, again, had all these holdout situations. Something happened where Jerry and Stephen Jones, let's just say it, just pissed them off to an incredible degree, where he's just like, I can't play for this guy. And the agent, I'm sure, was like, yeah, we got to get out of there. It's like, I'll talk to teams. Like, this is not what you want, where it's that old style ownership that treats the players wrong. You can't do that. You can't just hotbox a player these days. I never did that. I negotiated directly with some players, like, where they felt like we had a good relationship. We didn't need an agent, but the ownership doing that is just wrong.
We got Andrew Brandt joining the Mason Crosby show, and we're talking all things Micah Parsons trade, cap ramifications, what happened there in Dallas. But, I got to ask on the Packers side of things, like going and taking a leap like this. Ed Policy takes over for Mark Murphy. And the nuance in this deal is like, you can't overlook it. Carmen Policy, like I was watching that America's Team documentary. I don't know if you've watched that, but Carmen Policy there at the 49ers, ironically, traded Charles Haley to the Dallas Cowboys, and they go and win a Super Bowl at that time, top player, top defensive pass rusher in the game. And now this happens with the Cowboys, and Ed taking over. Do you think he had like a lot of say in this, or do you think they just stayed status quo and they left it up to Goody and to Russ Ball to figure it out? Or do you think Ed had a lot of say in trying to get this deal done once it became an opportunity?
I think he was big picture. It's going to be 40 plus a year and 47 over the extension, 42 over the 5 years. I mean, I think he gets big picture, and then the mechanics of it are left to Russ. It's a big swing, right? It's like, yes, he's new to the job, and it's a big swing. But I think Brian Gutekunst looked at this and said, once in a lifetime, you can't get players like this. Usually players like this never ever come on the market.
For sure.
They come on the market, like I said, after their second deal, in their 29, 30, 31 year age.
Fifth year option. It's crazy.
Yeah. And that's what I keep coming back to. It's like, yes, this is not the Packers, but they pounced. And they pounced. And again, you mentioned Kenny Clark. You can't discount that. What a strong player. And they redid him last year and are going to suck up a lot of dead money for doing so. That is another ramification of this trade. But let me just say this before I go, because I clap back at this narrative all the time, which is the narrative that if you have a $50+ million quarterback or $45 million+ quarterback, you can't build a Super Bowl contending team because of that. I think that's a lazy narrative. I think it's false. Because listen, as someone who did this 10 years, it's never been easier to manage a cap. And people say, why do you say that? Here's why I say that. Because especially a team like the Packers, 50 to 60 to 65% of your team is on rookie deals.
Yep.
So you have, out of 53 players, maybe you have 30 to 35 on rookie contracts, where their cap number conservatively is, say, $1 million. So that's, say it's $40 million. Now you have $240 million
yeah,
to pay your stars. So I just think that's lazy. What gets you in trouble, of course, is the dead money, where you're just stuck with bad contracts. In this case, a traded contract. And they carried Aaron, a huge number, and were successful. And they're going to carry Kenny, and they're going to have a big number, and they're going to be successful. So you have to plan around these dead money things. But again, there's no excuse to not having a good team with the cap and the rookie contracts being such a big part of football right now.
Do you think, last question, maybe Tommy might have something to follow up as well. I want to ask you about, like, specifically, bringing a player of Micah Parsons' caliber in, and then now you see all this narrative about the Packers, right? Like, there were a lot of question marks on the Packers, and it's so funny. I'm, watching ESPN, watching this stuff, and now they're talking about the offense and being more dynamic because you signed Micah Parsons. Like, what do you think of, like, that piece in the media, and like how everything all of a sudden now this team collectively just got better because you bring in a dynamic player like Micah Parsons? Do you think that is something that is just talked about, or do you think that's a real thing that can happen just because you find that confidence and now this part of that this team is really solidified?
It's a good question. I think there's going to be some juice in the locker room. There's going to be some juice around the team. I think that probably is going to be short term. I don't think those things kind of last, but they're a better team. They're a better team today than they were yesterday. So
for sure,
I think, I'm biased, Mason. You know that.
Yeah,
I had the Packers. I had them as a Super Bowl contending team before this. I think maybe now they're elevated to the status of up there with the Eagles in the top two that people would think about. Maybe, people are going to argue for the Lions and other teams, but we'll see. And that's the thing about this trade. Unfortunately, I guess, we can't really evaluate this till like 2030 when the two number ones play out a couple years and see, how they do versus how Mike has done the past few years.
Well, I got a feeling with listening to Jerry Jones's press conference yesterday, like, unless Steven really takes over down there, like, I don't know. There's something going on there. Like, Steven was kind of correcting him a couple times, or just
kept calling him Michael the whole time,
moving him forward. Yeah, it's just like, man, I don't know. And obviously, all the criticism is like, if Jerry, like, how do you not have any of this like thought before this draft? Like, you basically traded Micah on 50 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
For doing it at this time rather than before the draft.
And that's a great point. Like, that's just my only question for you. Andrew Brandt joining us here on the Mason Crosby Show. Andrew, like, how did this like happen behind closed doors like so quickly? Or how long do you think that these things speculate? Because there's been rumors about it now for weeks. Was this really just the worst kept secret in the NFL that the Packers were interested? Or do you think it really started to ramp up because the deal got done right as when the trade was happening? So it's happening behind closed doors. Like, I don't know how, if you've, with a player of this magnitude of Micah Parsons, like, there's no way this can just happen in one afternoon.
It's interesting because I have friends in Dallas, and they're texting me that we're in the worst sports town in the history of the world. Because you have to think about Luka, where they kind of focused in on one team and didn't get their maximum return. And here you wonder if they just focused on the Packers and didn't get maximum return. And could they have gotten 3 number ones from somebody? Could they have gotten 2 frontline players from somebody instead of Kenny Clark? So you don't know. I don't think this happened right away. I think this moment I keep talking about, whenever the breach of trust between Micah and the team happened, the agent and Micah started feelers. I just think there's been talk, there's been chatter. And again, going back to my first comment, I didn't believe it, but it was real. And I guess my final comment, I've been watching that too, Mason, the America's team. Listen, he will go down as one of the incredible, I don't know what the word is, showmen, business leaders for the NFL, Jerry Jones.
Get the attention.
The most valuable sports franchise on the earth. And but I don't know what's going on. Some of these appearances, like you just talked about yesterday, like whatever you say, Jerry, because I don't know if I believe that. Like, what's really going on there? Did they maximize value for the team? They got worse, it seems, and that's a man starving for a championship. So I don't know. And right now, these are the two of the biggest brands in sports. Packers, Cowboys made a deal. They play in 4 weeks. Everybody loves it. But are we seeing one ascend and one descend? We'll find out.
Yeah, just so interesting because, I mean, Packers have had the Cowboys number for a very long time now. And, even Jerry in that America's Team, thing on Netflix said how that loss in that playoff game just broke his soul to the Packers. And then you just trade your best player for, mind you, and I know you saw that, right? The whole time you were there with the Packers, I think the lowest pick that y'all had was like 22. It was like,
right.
So it's like you're getting late first round draft picks. I wouldn't be surprised because Jerry kind of said in his press conference, if they don't try to use maybe some of these, new picks they just got to go and try to make another splash move, because Jerry Jones also has said if they're not being talked about, if the Cowboys aren't on everyone's, tip of their tongue, he's going to make something happen to make sure that they are the most important and most talked about team in this business.
Last thing, this is a complete reversal of reputation. The Cowboys, with the aging Jerry Jones, were thought to be a team that would go for it and that would make the splash and win now, and who cares about the future? And the Packers have always been the team about the future and draft and develop young players through the draft, not take the big swings. It's a complete role reversal right now.
Oh, it's so funny you said that because Molly, my wife, just said that this morning, and I got to give her a shout out. She said, "Did the Packers just trade to be the Cowboys?" It's like it was so funny when she said it. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, yeah, it just literally they just traded franchise philosophy in this one deal right at that moment. It was kind of crazy. So. Andrew Brandt joining the Mason Crosby Show. Andrew, I really appreciate you jumping on. I love your insight. I'll keep following all your stuff as this unfolds on Twitter. But keep up the good work, and I really appreciate you jumping on this morning.
You got it, guys. So I just did an emergency podcast. So I have a podcast.
Emergency, nice.
Sports. Yeah, so people can check in and sort of even more detailed analysis than we just went through on the pod, and of course. My Twitter and Instagram, I'm doing some reels on it too at Andrew Brandt 2 on Instagram. So thanks, guys.
Where can they find the podcast, Andrew?
Wherever you find your podcast, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. It's called The Business of Sports with Andrew Brandt.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andrew Brandt, jumping off the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. What a day yesterday, Mason. What a day. I mean, we have an awesome lineup for you guys here today as it just started with Andrew Brandt, former NFL executive, been on the show before. Now, Ryan Wood's going to join us at 9:30. Dusty Eively going to jump on at 10:20. And really, this is like the MICAH Parsons show today for
pretty much,
the Mason Crosby edition of the MICAH Parsons show. I mean, where were you? You were like getting on a plane when you found out, right?
Yeah. I was flying back from a golf event. Just jumping on the plane when y'all started texting. I checked all the stuff. I mean, it was coming down. It was happening fast, but awesome. Yeah, so we're kind of building this thing up for you today, talking about the business side of it with Andrew Brandt, kind of like how what this means for the business of football. And now Ryan Wood, we're going to kind of talk about like what it means in like the building and like what this is going to be for the Packers. And then, down the line here in the 10 o'clock hour with Dusty Eively, we'll dive deep into like what MICAH Parsons is as a player and how he can help this team, because that is going to be the most important thing, right? It's like all this other stuff is what it is, but what is he going to do to make an impact on this football team and help this team get over that hump and get to another Super Bowl?
Yeah, this is a massive impact incoming for MICAH Parsons and the Green Bay Packers. We'll take a quick break here. Thanks again to Andrew Brandt. for jumping on to the Mason Crosby Show. Everyone on short notice because of no one expecting the deal to be completed when it did yesterday, as MICAH Parsons is the newest member of the Green Bay Packers. Football talk on the Fan, presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much these days, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game every Sunday on CBS and Paramount Plus all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. We're going to see if Ryan Wood's joining us here on the other side. It is the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Welcome back to the Mason Crosby Show. Tommy Wirtz in for Mitch Nelles for just a little bit more. Mason Crosby, Packers all-time leading scorer here. Andrew Brandt just joined us. I mean, like, thank God you know that guy. He is so smart, man. Every time he talks, I just want to hear it for 2 more hours after.
Yeah,
so
we just learn more. Yeah, check out his podcast, The Business of Sports with Andrew Brandt. Yeah, he's awesome. Like, yeah, it's just so awesome. I texted him like literally that was your idea, Tommy, which was great.
Was my idea.
I got to give you credit. You were just like, hey, how about Andrew Brandt? Text him. So thankful that he was able to jump on. That was an awesome way to start off the show.
And joining the show now, you know him. He covers the Green Bay Packers for USA Today. It is Ryan Wood here on the Mason Crosby Show. Ryan, on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. Ryan, what the hell is going on right now?
What world is this? They draft a first-round receiver and make the biggest trade of the NFL offseason all the same year? I don't know. It's a new and improved Brian Gutekunst maybe. But, the thing that's in my mind, you go back to the very end of last season. The last thing Brian Gutekunst literally said before venturing into the offseason, said it's a time for urgency, right? You look at this team and where they've been structured, set up. Jordan Love entering his third year as a starter. The youngest locker room of the NFL the past 2 years, but with getting a ton of big game experience because obviously they make the playoffs both years. This sure seemed like the year for urgency. And I think a lot of us kind of wondered, okay, where's that urgency from Brian Gutekunst throughout this entire offseason, right? Because he had one job this offseason, build your pass rush. And that didn't happen. And by the way, now he has MICAH Parsons. So yeah, it did. It's he waited till the buzzer, but he did it in the biggest way he could have.
For sure. Ryan, I appreciate you jumping on the show. I can't imagine they didn't have he didn't call Jerry Jones or have that conversation before the draft. I mean, I'm assuming this doesn't just happen, in this vacuum in training camp where it's just oh, okay, we're going to start this conversation. I'm sure those calls happen. And, Jerry probably said, no, we're not interested. But I got you have to think that this had been ongoing since sometime in the spring, figuring it out. And then Jerry Jones ended up probably taking about a 50% deal that he could have gotten earlier in the spring.
That's one of the things that'll be really interesting to learn today when Brian Gutekunst speaks and introduces MICAH Parsons to the Packers fan base is how did this come about? We're not in Dallas, but we can read, right? So we know that the reports out of Dallas are that Jerry Jones felt that he had negotiated in good faith directly and personally with MICAH Parsons a record-setting deal this spring. Only problem, as everyone knows, Mason, you know this, you don't do deals without an agent. You got to have your agent there, and that he wasn't. That's a big problem. Yeah. Jerry Jones should know better. And so on August 1st, MICAH Parsons finally has enough, and he says, "Okay, you guys didn't talk to my agent. I want out of here." I wonder if not that Brian Gutekunst, I'm sure, was paying attention. I mean, when Myles Garrett requests a trade at the Super Bowl, I'm sure Brian Gutekunst noticed. But when a player of MICAH Parsons' caliber officially writes that long statement, says, "I request a trade." That had to get Brian Gutekunst's interest then.
Yeah, for sure. We got Ryan Wood. He is he's a beat writer for USA Today, Packers beat writer by Ryan Wood. You can find him on Twitter. I'm sure you've been busy. I saw you had an emergency podcast. Everybody's jumping on, doing their thing. So what does this mean for this Packers team? Obviously, Kenny Clark's my guy. There's so many nuances to what this deal is. Kenny Clark, the last of Ted Thompson's drafted players, leaving this Packers team. This is an all Gutekunst team. It's his squad now. What does this mean for this Packers team? Moving forward, is that urgency now? I was thinking about this. I didn't have a chance to ask. We had Andrew Brandt on, and so I'll ask you this question. With Ed Policy saying he's not extending their contracts, doing all that, I mean, it feels like that moment where it's all right, backs against the wall. We got to go try to win a championship, or this whole thing could be turning over a little bit. Do you think any of that is reason to go and get a player like MICAH Parsons whenever he became available?
Well, I think there is a lot of pressure on Matt LaFleur now. And I think that any competitor, including Matt LaFleur, tell you what do they say about pressure, right? Pressure is a privilege. So I don't think that's something that Matt LaFleur is going to back down or back away from. But you do have a lot of youth and a lot of big game experience. That is a dangerous combination to have in this league. And when you have it, you expect to take a jump. You expect to go to another level. And that is now what 2025 is about. There's no more excuses, right? Had they not traded for MICAH Parsons, that pass rush was lingering there as a potential excuse. They didn't really address it much, and we saw that last year they could not consistently get home with 4, right? Yep. I asked Brian Gutekunst on the day after cutdown day, Wednesday. I asked him what he thought about the pass rush last year. He's like, it was dominant at times. You want to be more consistently dominant. That was and there was nothing that had really happened this offseason to change that, right? Now there's no more excuses here. This is Super Bowl or bust. And this is a team that is built to be able to actually meet those expectations. Now, I don't think we should gloss over the Kenny Clark aspect of this. Mason, that's your guy. It's going to be eerie for me walking into the locker room and not seeing Kenny Clark. 9 years that has happened. Better part of a decade. And he was –
and, he's only 30 years old too. Yeah. It's like he's been there forever.
It feels that way. And he was instrumental as a leader in that locker room, considering that this was the youngest team in the NFL, and he's the one guy that's been there forever. He's instrumental on the interior, stopping the run. That's a big question now on the interior. But I think in this league, and this is really what the decision that Brian Gutekunst was faced with, if you have a choice between rushing the passer and stopping the run, and it's not like they're going to sacrifice stopping the run, but if that's your choice, you always pick rushing the passer. That wins not only games. Look at the Philadelphia Eagles. That wins titles in this league if you can rush the passer, and now the Packers absolutely can. I think critical in this deal, and what really shocked me, was that they didn't have to trade Rashawn Gary. I just figured – you knew that this would be picks plus player. I just figured that Rashawn Gary was going to have to be the player because that's a young pass rusher that, okay, Jerry Jones can go and sell this to the Cowboys fan base. Now, instead of that edge rush might have been the biggest weakness on this roster. Now, with Rashawn Gary and MICAH Parsons, it might be the best bookend edge rush in the entire NFL. Overnight, that has completely changed.
Ryan Wood joining us here on the Mason Crosby Show. Follow him on Twitter at @ByRyanWood. Ryan, I want to look at the moves now from the 53-man roster and then how it translates with MICAH Parsons. I thought it was weird, or at least strange in some way, that they kept 6 defensive tackles on that initial 53-man roster, right?
Yeah.
That seems like that was all now part of a plan, and some negotiations were happening during that time when the 53-man roster was being constructed. Obviously, now they only have 5 with Kenny Clark being moved in this Dallas deal. But how high are they on guys like a Nasir Stackhouse or, a Warren Brinson, who were kept on as younger guys and going to play these defensive tackle roles if they were willing to move on from Kenny Clark to bring in a guy like MICAH Parsons? Not that you wouldn't do this deal 100 times out of 100, but you got to have some level of faith in a UDFA if you're going to keep him on a roster at some point, Ryan.
To your point, knowing what we know now, you have to believe that Brian Gutekunst had a good idea Kenny Clark might not be on his roster this season. So that had to factor into the 53 calculations when cutdown day came. We'll find out what they feel about Warren Brinson and Nasir Stackhouse. Neither guy has ever played a snap in this league. There's a lot of inexperience now. I think Devontae Wyatt, you look at last year, It sure felt like he was on the verge of a breakout. 3 sacks in the first 3 games, and he has the ankle injury week 4 against Minnesota. Not the same guy until he misses a month, but really not the same guy until December when he has 2 more sacks late in the season. He's a guy that I think he's ready to anchor your defensive line. The question is, what's behind him? And Carl Brooks has shown that he can have flashes of pass rush brilliance. Colby Wooden can contribute to the run support, but there's not a lot of depth there now. I wouldn't be surprised if Brian Gutekunst goes out and tries to find a guy to bring in there off the street just to have more bodies, because that's a lot to ask on 2 rookies. But if he doesn't, Warren Brinson and Nasir Stackhouse, they're going to have to play snaps this year.
For sure. You got to think the expectation now is everyone's going to be focused on MICAH Parsons, which is amazing for Rashawn Gary. Right? You got to think, we were talking about this yesterday. Rashawn Gary's sack number, we should have expectations for him to be more effective in the pass rush. Another question I have is, I've talked about this a couple times. Do you think in some pass rush situations we could see Van Ness on the field in like a D tackle type situation?
Yeah, kind of like a Corvette mode, right? You just put your sports cars out there, let him go. Yeah, Lucas Van Ness, we know this about him. He's a guy that has the ability to slide down to the interior. Didn't see it a whole lot in camp, but he's played that before. I mean, he's dropped his hand in the dirt and gone down before. And I think that there's a certain comfort level that he has. Yes, in pass rush situations, I think that you'll likely see all three of them on the field. You'll see Devontae Wyatt with them. You'll see Carl Brooks with them because he can get after the passer. It's not just what it does to Rashawn Gary, and let's call it now. I think Rashawn Gary is about to have his first double-digit sack season of his career. I think that that's the influence of Micah Parsons, just not having to go against those double teams with near the regularity. But it helps your depth so much too, because now Lucas Van Ness isn't a starter. He's your number 3. He's coming off the sideline, rotating in. That's a very comfortable role for him to be in. You look at Brenton Cox. You look at the rookie Baron Sorrell. You look at Kingsley and Igbari. Those guys are going to be – they're solid rotational pieces to have for depth on the edge. It all trickles down because of Micah Parsons. So, yeah, the pass rush is in not just at the top, not just Micah Parsons, not just at a minimum of 12 sacks this year, because that's what he's always done in his first 4 years of his career. But everything down the depth chart gets a boost.
Yeah, I was, and you think about it too on the back end, what you can do in the secondary now, whenever you have a quality pass rush like Micah Parsons, and you're going to, probably free up Rashawn Gary a little bit. Now that pass rush is solidified, that back end can be a little more aggressive on their, how they're covering the receivers and doing what they're doing in the back. They had a great, they turned over the ball a lot last year. They got a lot of turnovers, but now with this pass rush, they can just get after it even more. And be more aggressive. I remember our 2011 season. It's teams had to get into passing situations because we were so good on offense. So that's where this needs to play a factor. And I think you said it with Matt LaFleur. It's like the offense has pressure now. If you can go and move the ball and score points and get teams into passing situations, that is going to be a recipe for this team to have great success.
I was just going to say too, Ryan, you brought up the pressure on Matt LaFleur. Jordan Love has to feel a little bit more pressure at least than he did yesterday now with his season on the line here, Ryan.
Yes and no, right? Yes, because this is his 3rd year as a starter, and he's the $55 million quarterback. He is expected to get you there. That's the way this league works. It also, I think, takes a little pressure off of Jordan Love. He knows he doesn't have to make a big play every time he's got the ball. That old QB adage, a punt isn't necessarily a bad play. Well, it's definitely not a bad play when you've got your defense back on the field. They got Micah Parsons, right? To your point, Mason, about the secondary, how happy does Xavier McKinney have to be? Because when you're lacking in pass rush, it's a lot easier for quarterbacks to be choosy. It's a lot easier to stay away from the deep middle. But when you're under duress constantly, you don't have the option of being selective. You got to get rid of the ball. That means deep middle. That means Xavier McKinney's vicinity. That's what you're going to do because you can't take the sack. And if you look at the totality of the defense now, the Packers got to feel like they have an elite player on all levels. Micah Parsons on the defensive line. Edgerrin Cooper he's expected to be ascending into that type of caliber player this year. Played half the snaps last year, was twice NFC Player of the Week as a rookie. And then Xavier McKinney on the back end. There's elite players everywhere you look, all levels. And you know this, Super Bowl champions are built with elite players. They got to have the depth too, but you got to have star power in this league to go win a championship. And that's what the Packers have.
Yeah, I love that. I just, in my mind, I look at it as now with this pass rush, you go into, they can play some two man, where it's okay, you let those cornerbacks, let Keyshawn Nixon and Nate Hobbs, which I've been a little worried about them because they like to put their hands on guys, they like to grab. So it's but if you can grab early, let them go and let that pass rush get going. They're strong physical type DBs. That could be a great option for this team. So, let's go to the other side of the ball real quick, because it's so funny, ESPN, you got Orlovsky just now all of a sudden, the offense has all these weapons that he probably, I think, had downplayed for a while, but Micah Parsons on the team now, it's man, this team is amazing. They're going to light up the scoreboard and, stop everyone on defense. But what do you think about receiving core, Jaden Reed's stuff, his health issues? Sounds like his he's practicing, but that foot thing could be an issue going forward. What do you feel, is going to show there in this receiving room and that offensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I asked Jaden Reed point blank about week 1, and he wasn't ready to give that seal of approval yet. He said it's still up in the air. He's still not able to run routes without pain, especially when he's making.
It looked a little labored, from what I saw. Yeah.
Yeah. So that now there's 9 days left of the opener. There's still time, and I think it's certainly a good sign that he was able to practice this week. Matthew Golden is going to be fascinating to watch. I want to. I know that in this culture, we take things and we can blow it way out of proportion. I want to make very clear, this is not in any way a statement on the future. I have no idea what's to come. But as far as a rookie training camp, Matthew Golden right now is ahead of where Davante Adams was in 2014. Like that's the type of rookie training camp that Matthew Golden just had. It does not mean that he'll ever be Davante Adams, because you know this. It took a few years for Davante Adams to become Davante Adams. Then he was the best receiver in the league on a Hall of Fame track. I mean, he was Davante Adams. So, But just in terms of being ready for September, Matthew Golden looks like he's ready now to contribute, to be a key piece in this offense. That's going to help Jordan Love. And this is an offense that's going to be built on the back of Josh Jacobs. It's going to be built on the back of that power run game and that offensive line, which mirrors really nice when you have a juggernaut
with a great defense.
Right? Yep. That's what you want. When you can mirror those two things. And that's where I say, in a way, it takes pressure off of Jordan Love, because he doesn't have to be what Aaron Rodgers was for so many years here, which was the end-all, be-all. It runs through you. If it doesn't run for you, it's not running. There's a lot of ways for this roster to go win games each week, not just the quarterback. The quarterback's got to play well, but that's a great run game and defense is a quarterback's best friend. That's what the Packers should have.
Yeah, exactly. Like let's be real. Let's not be upset if we see a lot of games at 21-7, 24-7, where it's just like, they plod along, they control the clock and just get it done and just wear teams out with the defense that they're going to be able to put out on the field. I do ask, like MICAH Parsons obviously has not practiced. He didn't play there in Dallas. Like everything, it's like we've seen that guys have backs. It's like we got a back injury. But do you see him playing a lot of snaps against the Lions? My thought is maybe he's going to be the pass rush guy, in these first couple games. Just get him back into the fold, make sure that he stays healthy. But what do you see his role to start this season right now?
That's a big question about him, because the last thing in the world you want to do is overextend MICAH Parsons in September when he hasn't had a training camp. You need him for the long haul. You need him for the stretch run this year. So maybe something of a situational pass rusher. The other question I think is really big with him in terms of usage. There was that dispute in Dallas over whether he was a defensive end or a linebacker. And MICAH Parsons believes he's a linebacker. And that's obviously in terms of the financial end, you get a little bit more as a linebacker than a defensive end. The Packers have linebackers. Like they have Edgerrin Cooper. They think very highly of Quay Walker. What they don't have is the edge rush. So do they use MICAH Parsons the same way he was used in Dallas, where he was a rover guy? He was all over the field, kind of that defensive equivalent.
I don't think Hafley's afraid to do that, though, right? Like Hafley's already been open about, like, I'll adjust to the players I have.
I mean, what we know about Jeff Hafley is that he's got an endless bag of creativity. We saw that week in, week out last year. So there's a lot of ways that, and in terms of that creativity, how can you use MICAH Parsons and Edgerrin Cooper together? I mean, that's got to be scary for offenses. But what's the biggest thing that defense does need? It is edge rush. And that is also something that MICAH Parsons is elite at. So do you use him like Dallas, or do you really tailor him toward filling your biggest need and letting him just go? I think that usage will be very, very interesting.
For sure. We got Ryan Wood, Packers beat writer for USA Today, by Ryan Wood on Twitter. Tommy, you got anything else? I mean, I really appreciate your takes, Ryan. I mean, that's we're diving deep into it, and this thing is just going to keep rolling. I cannot wait to see this Packers team take the field and what they're going to do against this Lions. The Lions, it was funny. I told these guys. So I was at this golf event in Alabama, flew back. Golden Tate was at the event as well. Hate it. We hate him as Packers and Packers fans. If he wasn't such a nice guy, I would really dislike him. But it was funny. I signed a Packers jersey for him, and then he was like, I cannot believe this. I hate it for my Lions. He was worried about it for the Lions and for all these teams. And so just give your kind of final takes on what we can expect and what you think this does heading into this first week against the Lions.
Well, let's look at it in terms of the NFC North, right? The Lions have a massive question going into this season. They're replacing 2 coordinators. That is not an easy task. What helps them there is that they have a loaded roster, right? They have a ton of talent, both sides of the ball. One of those pieces is Aiden Hutchinson. And until yesterday, that was a piece the Packers just simply could not match.
Yep.
Now, not only have they matched that, there's not a lot of guys in this league that you can say definitively better than Aiden Hutchinson. MICAH Parsons is one. They've not only matched that, they've surpassed that piece. This is a loaded roster itself, and the difference between the Packers and the Lions is the continuity on the staff now. And they're bringing that continuity with this very uber talented roster. There's a lot of sinkage going on. A lot of those ingredients that you need to make a Super Bowl run, that requisite for making that type of run, the Packers have. So that's the reality of this team going into this season.
Well, Ryan, thank you so much for jumping on today. Where can we find some of your amazing work? Anything you want to plug on the way out here? I'm sure you got a lot of stuff coming out here on the story that we got yesterday with the Packers.
Yeah, we flooded the zone last night on PackersNews.com. So make sure that we were all hands on deck. Make sure you go there. And then today, because this is a signature moment in Packers history. My colleague Tom Silverstein, who you guys know well, who has been around forever. I mean, this is the biggest introductory press conference since Reggie White. It's a big deal. So we'll have wall-to-wall coverage on Packers News all through the weekend.
Well, that'll be awesome. Ryan, appreciate it. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Hey, always good catching up with you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan.
There he is, Ryan Wood, joining us on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. We are way late. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Mitch Nelles going to join us on the other side. The Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers.
What's the latest on the PGA Tour? What course do you need to get out and play? What's the latest from the local golf pro? It's time for On the Green, presented by Alice Windows, Doors, and More on the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thunder Nelles. Presented by Verizon, Milwaukee's #1 network, broadcasting live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios. Powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Today we focus on the Wisconsin Country Club, where community and recreation meet. Find them at the Wisconsin.
Well, normally it's On the Green, but today it's On the Green Bay Packers. Let's go. All the love to Alice Windows and Doors and More. They do amazing, amazing work. Make sure you check them out if you're getting any work done. But today it's all Green Bay Packers all the time. My name is Mitch Thunder Nelles, and he is the kicker. We are finally reunited, and it feels
so good.
You gotta keep it going.
I know.
I thought it was
I was giving you a piece.
No, he forgot the next line.
He is.
Relax, Tommy.
Mason. What's up, Mason Crosby?
What's up?
Anything
Mason
happened
Crosby.
while you were gone? What? Anything happened?
I realized I was, because this is, we played on the green, so I'm really bad at golf. I realized that. I played really bad on my trip.
It happens.
But yeah, who cares about golf?
That's right.
The Green Bay Packers traded for MICAH Parsons. So.
Unbelievable. Yeah. It was unbelievable when it broke yesterday. It's still unbelievable today. I still don't believe it. Like I don't. Can't. Right. I can't believe the Green Bay Packers and Brian Gutekunst actually made this move.
See, I'm like I go back and forth. I'm like, I can't believe they made it, but I can't believe Dallas agreed to it and did this thing because. Yep. Again, we talked about this the whole time. I was like, yes, I think they should go and try to get this deal done, but there's no way the Dallas Cowboys would accept the Packers' first-round picks.
Right.
It's just there's just no way. And then Jerry Jones, oh yeah, we just wanted to shore up our run defense. It's like,
that's what was happening.
Kenny Clark, that's a great option to do that. And Kenny Clark's my guy, and I just hope he goes down there and balls out and does awesome. But it just blows my mind that Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys would mess this up so bad with a generational talent like MICAH Parsons that they would accept 2 late first round picks because the Packers are going to be excellent and do this deal. So I mean. Well, Jerry Jones likes to have the attention, and the attention's all on him. So let's see how they respond to all of this.
Kenny Clark is 29 years old. He'll be 30 October 4th. MICAH Parsons is 26. Is 26. 26.
How did the Packers get younger in this deal? On top of it.
Right. Oh, that's a great point because Mason, I don't know if you knew this or not. Because nobody's ever talked about it in media the past 2 years.
Yeah.
The Packers are one of, if not the youngest team in football. And they got younger. They're young, but now
they're young with experience. I mean,
right.
I will
Which
say,
is dangerous.
I always talk about this on the show, and I talk about it for my career and all the stuff. You can never try to recreate something from the past. It has to be its own thing. But history is kind of playing out right now. This is year 3 of Jordan Love, year 3 of Aaron Rodgers, as the starter, takes it to the ultimate place. You've built a defense now that is dominant and going to be something to be reckoned with. You have great pass rush, you have great back end players. This is one of those teams right now. Great run game. Yep. Whenever we won the Super Bowl, we had a great run game.
Yes,
it wasn't dependent on Aaron Rodgers just being all everything. He ran the system.
Was part of it.
Yeah.
And absolutely.
So this has all the makings of something special. Now they just have to go out and execute on Sundays. I mean, that is the pressure that they face.
Sure.
Is just to take a deep breath, hold, just say all right, we got all the pieces. Now let's go out there and execute. Let's not think about all that. We're in the building. The excitement's going to wear off after a couple of days in that building. We're going to keep it rolling here in the media side.
Yeah, we are.
But the excitement in that building is going to wear off once MICAH takes the field, once they're kind of rolling into the week of practice for the Lions. And then you just got to go unleash it and play ball.
Bring on the Lions. 414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line. Text in your thoughts. Call up, talk with us. Dusty Eively is going to join around 10:20 or so. But before then, we have time for your calls. We have time for your YouTube comments as well. Remember, we are live on YouTube at The Fan Milwaukee. We've already got a bunch of comments coming in. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to drop us a line as well. Cheddarhead says, what a time to be alive. And he's not wrong. Or she. Cheddarhead can be he or she. Cheddarhead is not wrong. What a time to be alive. He's Mason Crosby. I'm Mitch Nelles. Your calls and more thoughts coming up next right here on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. We are in the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Mason, it's so good. It's just
so
like,
good to see you and
it's
hear your voice, buddy.
Same, right back at you. This is the Mason Crosby Show. This is the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. My name is Mitch Nelles, a.k.a. Thunder. He is Mason Crosby. Wearing the right colors today. Love that hat.
Oh yeah,
yeah. You are looking
this
good,
is
man.
all we could wear. You have the Packers polo on. I got the green and gold hat. I mean, there's nothing else we could have worn today.
No, absolutely wearing the right gear. As MICAH Parsons is a Green Bay Packer. Right at 4:00 yesterday, I was telling Mason during the break, I'm watching the Brewers game, and we know the Brewers lost yesterday 6-4, kind of two weird games in a row, and they go to Toronto now. Excited for that series. The two best teams in baseball.
For sure.
And I'm thinking and here's Yelich, and he's pinch hitting, and there's two men on, and the trade happens. And all I was thinking was how majestic would it be if this trade happens, and then literally 30 seconds later, Yelich hits a 3-run bomb walk-off.
I thought he was going to.
Yeah, it didn't happen. But the big news of the day, of course, is that the Badgers are 1-0, a 17-0 win, a shutout. They pitch a shutout.
Elite defense.
Yeah, best defense.
That's what wins championships. That's what we're already talking about here with MICAH Parsons.
Literally the number one defense in college football because they've given up 0 points, right?
0 points.
Yeah. Literally the best defensive player wasn't even on the Badgers yesterday. Adam Trick should play in the NFL based on that performance.
And maybe he will. But we are here for you on 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, The Fan. We are on the Odyssey app. We are on the iHeart app. We are on YouTube. And MICAH Parsons is a Green Bay Packer, which still I said it yesterday, and I was speechless. I mean, I was on the air doing this.
Right? I think everybody's kind of grasping at straws here. How did the Cowboys let this happen?
I love what you talked about what Molly said to you. That it's it feels like the Cowboys are the Packers and the Packers are the Cowboys in this situation. It just seems.
She said it so well, and I wish I could have recorded it, and I wish we were on air whenever she said it. Can we get her? She's playing pickleball right now, but I'll have her come on at some point. Maybe next week. Oh, she's pickling.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, next time you guys can come up to Milwaukee, we'll go to Donald's place, the Pickleball Kingdom, over in the Falls, and we'll pickle up because Mrs. Thunder, she gets into pickleball a little bit too.
Yeah, but it'd have to be you and Molly, and me and Ellie, because we're not a good team. Actually, we're not a good team.
Same. Actually, that's exactly the same. Ellie and I are not a good team.
She doesn't like me giving her encouragement, which is wild.
Right. Even encouragement. You're not trying to correct anything.
I'm just
good shot. Shut up.
Yeah. No, it's
don't talk to me.
Just mind your own business.
Do your job. Do your job. I love it. Dave and Cudahy writing in on the YouTube channel. Our family is expecting a boy in the near future. Coincidentally, we had discussed MICAH as a name. Now I'm feeling more inclined to run with that name.
Yeah.
I love it.
Just go Parsons.
Parsons has a first name.
Jerry. Yeah, should be Jerry.
Jerry. How about Jerry?
Yeah.
Shout
out to
JJ.
Jerry.
Yeah. Jerry and middle name World. Just Jerry World.
J-Dub.
414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Fan talking text line. 414-677-1250. I know we got a couple texts in about what number MICAH might wear.
The number is the big,
we'll get into that conversation, but let's go out to Ram on the north side. Ram, you're on the Mason Crosby Show.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Mason and my guy here.
Thunder, it's okay.
I thought it was AI.
I am AI. You're right.
No.
You thought yesterday was AI? You thought it was a spoof.
I was at the gym, and because there's AI stuff out here.
Yep.
I'm like, nah, it couldn't be it.
Can't trust that. Yeah.
I agree.
So then I checked some other sources, and I'm sitting here like, wow. Now the irony is that my sister, her husband is a Cowboys fan, and they live in Texas.
Sucker.
And my sister's a Packer fan, and her daughter. It's like, I read a family text, and he said, I'm done. He said, I'm not taking no texts from nobody in his family. So I was just literally like, wow. Then the next thing I started thinking about, Mason, do you think this is kind of like a replay of the Brett Favre year when we got Reggie White?
I mean, it's the closest thing. Yeah. I mean, you got to look back. There's probably three key moments here, since Brett Favre, traded. Yep. They traded for Brett Favre, but he was unproven. You didn't know what you were going to get from Brett Favre.
Nobody else knew.
Yeah, right. And then Reggie White obviously was kind of later in his career, amazing, but that was free agent. this is the biggest trade.
And then Charles
that the
Woodson.
Packers,
But they had a good running back.
but they signed him, right? Yeah,
Right.
like that's free agent. This is the
Not a
biggest trade
Yes.
that the Packers have ever made for a guy in his prime, already proven to be an elite player. Like there's nothing bigger than this. This is definitely the biggest move.
Okay,
that
you
the Packers
guys.
have
I
ever
got
made.
my last thing here.
All right, Ram.
Is this so? What is the Bucks' problem? Or do we got to pray on this, or
We do.
we got to go to the confession booth, or
We got to pray on it. You're right. We got to pray on it
That's what we're doing. We're praying on it
because
Yeah.
we
We're gonna
have
be doing-
because we have Giannis,
Yeah.
and so we're already in a
Okay.
good spot. So we're praying from a source of strength, but we're praying for even more strength.
Okay,
for
I
our
got
Milwaukee
last.
Bucks.
So, do you think it's possible that all three of our teams could make it to the championship?
This is
Possible?
This is a
the year.
possible year. Yeah. This is as good of a
Tommy,
year as it could have ever been.
Tommy, relax.
You know what it costed, Ram? It costed Wisconsin Badger football. Like that's what it did.
Fine.
Yeah, 100% trade off on
Fine.
that. But
Okay.
I don't think the Bucks are in any
Well, we're not counting.
serious. Like
Not right now. Not right now.
No,
Yeah,
no.
But they
The
still have
Bucks
Giannis, and there's
could be
still
one
moves
player
to make.
away.
It
And the
is.
East sucks.
I will say this, Ram. It does now show that the Packers are, John Horst might have rubbed off a little bit on the Packers where he does a deal where he wants a guy and will make it happen.
Yeah.
And now
Okay.
Goody emulating that as well with the deal for MICAH
They
Parsons.
wanted to. They
I
wanted
get
to.
that. I agree with you on that. Okay, I get that.
They wanted to
Goody gotta get one.
reestablish
Goody
up
gotta
there in
get
Green
one.
Bay that they are the Wisconsin's team. They're
That's
the
right.
team to watch.
Okay.
They had to make sure that everyone knew we are the Green Bay Packers. Like,
Absolutely.
we're chasing
It's
championships.
gonna be amped up in Green Bay, man.
Oh my
The whole
gosh,
season, man.
dude! The whole state's on
The
fire.
whole state.
The whole state's going to be on fire all football season. Ram, thanks for the call.
I'll be tuning in.
Yeah,
All
you
right,
are.
appreciate you, Ram.
Yep. Thanks for tuning in. Tell your friends. It is going to be a blast. It is already lit, and it's about to explode.
Well, you know what I say. The job of the fans now. Like the Packers did their job. They went and got the players.
Good point.
Job of the fans
That's right.
is to go into Lambeau Field and you protect that home field.
Yes.
Don't let the riffraff in. Don't sell your tickets.
Sell your ticket. If you're selling your tickets, make sure you're selling them.
Make
to other
sure it's a
Packers
Packer
fans.
fan,
Absolutely.
and let's make it crazy.
I actually have some
Because
tickets
a
for
crazy
go ahead.
home field advantage
Yes.
with the pass rush like Micah Parsons,
Yes.
Rashawn Garrett, like what they're going to bring will be so hard to overcome for an opposing team. Like that's how it has to be, and that has to be an expectation.
Mason, how loud should it be when the Packers are on defense, especially on third down?
What's
that
like the
should be
record
assumed.
there? And it's 130. 130. What is it? What
Decibels.
Decibels is
Yep.
what they do.
Yep.
Gigawatts.
Yes. Gigawatts.
Could have went to Harvard. Could have went to Harvard.
1.21
Mason.
gigawatts. It's Back to the Future.
Gigawatts.
No, listen, keep the riffraff out. Keep whatever. What is it? Ocean blue, powder blue, lake. What's the blue?
Hawaiian.
Hawaiian, which is the stupidest thing that Detroit wears. Hawaiian blue, idiots.
Goofy.
Keep the Commanders fans out in week 2. I actually have some Commanders fans, Commanders tickets up on my Facebook page because I have a buddy who's a season ticket holder and he doesn't want to sell them on Ticketmaster or StubHub because he
Good
wants to
on
make
him.
sure they go to a Packers fan. He's out of town. He's got to be in Denver that weekend and he's got tickets for sale. And I'm like, let's go. Like I will. If you tell me, I will make sure they get into the hands of Packers fans. Say less.
Have to give it to Packers fans,
Yes.
no doubt. Now it's obviously okay. Yeah, Micah Parsons, he's going to be like averaging 12 sacks this season for the last 4. I mean,
that's his average.
The guy's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I was looking at like the Khalil Mack trade, right?
Yep.
And so the year after he was traded to the Chicago Bears, he had a fine year. He had 12 and a half sacks. It was like he was dominant. He was good.
He made a difference. He was a difference maker for the Bears.
He was a
that year.
difference. Yeah. He fell off a little bit the next couple of years.
But that first year, he was legit.
The first year. So, I mean, the expectation has to be sky high. I mean,
all right, so I have a question
but
for
with
you
high
then.
expectation, and I've said this before, when you give a guy a big contract, like Micah Parsons, doesn't have to be anything that he's not, but there's an expectation to lead the way, with effort, with work, with all that stuff, and be a leader on this team. So, like, I hope he comes in and he is a difference maker in all of those ways, not just on the field collecting his check, going out there and trying to Yes, I want him to ball, but I do think he can be a real positive influence as well in this locker room.
Rashawn Gary had 7.5 sacks last year.
Yep.
Devontae Wyatt had 5. Kingsley Enagbare had 4.5. Brenton Cox had 4. Edgerrin Cooper had 3.5. Carl Brooks had 3.5. Keyshawn Nixon had 3. Lucas Van Ness had 3. Those were your leaders for the Green Bay Packers last year. If Micah Parsons, who averages 12 a year, if his number doesn't go up or if his number even goes down, but Rashawn Gary goes from 7.5 to 11, if Lucas Van Ness goes from 3 to 9, which is possible with playing around a guy like Micah. All right, so let's go. He goes from 3 to 7. Let's not.
I mean, if he gets 7, right. I feel like
let's say like Wyatt and Egbari and Cox all go up 1. Like then, if Edgerrin Cooper goes from 3.5 to 5, and then you've seen the impact, right? Yeah. It doesn't have to be that Parsons comes in here and gets 17 sacks, like something like what we'd expect Trey Hendrickson to do. He can keep his 12. He can even go down to 9 or 10. But if it means
I just don't see him going down. Yeah,
but let's say he stays at 12, but everybody else goes up 1, and all of a sudden there's 10 more sacks on the season. Yeah. That's 1 or 2 games that are changed by Micah Parsons being on the field.
Well, and then you spoke on like Devontae Wyatt is the big piece to this, right? Yeah. The fact that he had 5 and he missed some time.
Yep.
Like the guy was showing
missed 3 games last year.
He was showing some sparks of really disruptive football.
Well, and Cox only played 7 games.
A great rush D tackle frees up those edges too. So it's like if you have a guy like that is healthy and more, and is effective inside, they can't double team Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary. Like you're going to have to spread that thing out. So yes, I mean, and Wood said it. He expects Rashawn Gary to have his first double-digit sack.
I think we all should expect that. Yeah. I think if we can
Rashawn Gary has to have 10 minimum.
I don't know what Potawatomi
Micah Parsons is going to be 15.
Right. I don't know if you can get a Potawatomi number over/under on sacks. But if the number on Rashawn Gary is like last year, like 7.5, I'd take the over. I'd take the over today.
I would take over 7.5
because I think what Micah Parsons is going to open up for Rashawn Gary is going to have a true impact. Dusty Eively is ready. And he's going to join us next. He's Mason Crosby. I'm Mitch Nelles. It's the Mason Crosby Show powered by Verizon, the official 5G network of our Green Bay Packers. And by the way, one of those 53 is named Micah Parsons.
Yep.
This is the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. We're in the fan studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, where I just got an email from our guru of PR from Potawatomi, our senior public relations manager, Jay in Whitefish Bay. He said the Super Bowl odds went from plus 2,000 to plus 1,400.
Jeez.
They are
should
still
have put it on there already.
Yep, they are still sixth favorite behind the Eagles, Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, and Lions. If you look at the NFC North odds at Potawatomi, the Lions are it's basically even. The Lions are plus 175. The Packers are plus 180. So they are literally as close as you can be. I would be surprised if by the end of the weekend that hasn't flip-flopped and the Packers would be the favorite in the NFC North. I know we all like the Lions. Lions are good football. I mean, we don't like them as like a team. We like them. We like their odds. They're a good team. But I think that we believe that that this move may flip-flop and recency bias. Like, it just happened. So there should be an influx of money on the Packers this weekend, and then things even out a little bit. And especially whoever wins that game week one.
Whoever wins.
Yeah, that's gonna have a huge impact on those odds, right?
No doubt. I mean, that's it just put a little more emphasis. Like, it was a big game already, but it just put more emphasis on the importance of winning this game. I mean, you go and win this game and you have a player in defense and a team like you have built right now, like that just puts you in the driver's seat for the rest of the season.
Joining us now on the Mason Crosby Show, he's on the Fan Guest Hotline powered by Gruber Law. It's Dusty Eively from Acme Packing Company. Dusty, thanks so much for jumping on. Where were you? What were you doing? What was your first reaction? Did you believe it was real or was it AI? Take us through your afternoon yesterday.
I was cooking supper, making supper, and I got
What were you making?
Birria ramen. It was birria ramen. Is
nice.
Whoa.
I'm here for that. Let's go.
Listen,
I'll be over in 20 minutes.
I got a text from my little brother who just said, "Guys!" 3 exclamation points, and I was like, "Oh no! Oh, it happened! It happened!" So it all kind of supper went by the wayside for a bit, and I had to check for myself to make sure, see what all the compensation was, all that stuff, but. Yeah, I mean, it was rumblings the past few days, so I was kind of on edge a little bit. But as soon as I got that one-word text, I was like, "Oh man, it happened." So, good night last night, man. Good night.
It's on now. Yeah, Dusty, how much film have you been breaking down? Are you just watching Micah Parsons highlights?
Yeah, so I had prepped a bit, dude. Like I started on Tuesday. I started gathering clips on Tuesday. I was like, I want to prep, man. I want to be ready. But I was up till 3:00 in the morning this morning, I think, just writing and getting ready. So it's been not enough, but it's been a lot, man. It's been a lot.
Well, we know his strengths and we know like what he can do. Like, when you watch a lot of film, when you're kind of breaking it down, is there anything that, stands out that, he can improve on? And like, what is maybe a weak spot in his game?
I mean, there's not a lot to improve on. Which was to be expected. I mean, the things I was really interested in, I will say, is, I'd seen the numbers. I obviously had seen him play on Sundays. I'd watched him a little bit, but not closely. So some of it is like the quick win pressure rate, stuff like that. Like, I know he can win. How consistent is that? And then the biggest thing I spent a lot of time on last night was run game. Because that's one of the things is how is he in the run game? And I don't want to be the nerd that's like they got to stop the run on the inside. And that's a different question, I think, at some point. But that was one of my focuses.
Jerry Jones said that's why they moved on, because they wanted a better run defense.
Right, which is funny because
which is a joke. Yes,
they don't play the same position. Those are not the same men. I mean, I thought in the run game, I didn't know what I was going to see. Sometimes you get those guys that are like the big pass rushers, and sometimes they're good. Like Khalil Mack has always been a good run defender. Is Micah a guy who will take plays off? Like, how tenacious is he against the run? Stuff like that. I thought he was good. Like, obviously he's not going to he'll get blown off the ball in double teams because he's, going to get double teamed by tackling a guard. He's not as big, but I mean, he'll make big plays by shooting gaps. He's more than willing to hold the edge. Like, there's a ton of him of like physical off the edge and making the tackle anyway. I mean, if I'm trying to think of things he can improve on, there's really not much, dude. I mean, his hands are incredible. Speed, bend, obviously all this stuff is good. He's tremendous. What was a stat I saw from Dyer Carragher? That was a PFF grade, which sometimes I can take or leave, but he had a 99.9 PFF grade when mugged up as a blitzing linebacker. The second best player in the league last year at that was Edge Cooper. So, I mean, you can line him up anywhere. He was playing he was playing over guards. They had him in. They had when they had like the wide 9 stuff with the the wide 9 rushers. He would line up as the inside man over the tackle, and then he can win. There's like a 2-way go there. He can win on his mugged up stuff. Like he's beating good centers clean from the jump. Like he's again, run defense is a different story. I think in terms of like interior defensive line, but as far as MICAH, I saw the terms of this and I was like 2 firsts, and I hate losing Kenny Clark. I mean, one of my all-time favorite Packers, man. That sucks.
For sure.
But I mean, it's 2 firsts, man. Like the Cowboys gave up more than this for Trey Lance. The Falcons gave up their next 1 first-round pick for James Pierce. This is like a pass rusher in the prime of his career. These guys don't come along that often, like ever at 26.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen.
Well, because I mean, whenever you draft Micah Parsons, you're hoping he turns into what he is, right? Like with that first-round pick, like you're hopeful that it becomes that, and he is that. And now the Packers have him. Like it is wild to think that this actually happened. And I'm like scratching my head, just trying to figure out like, how did it get this to this point? Jerry Jones just talked to his agent and this deal is done. Like, it's just like, dude,
that whole different. Like, we don't deal with agents or whatever, want to do a deal with MICAH. That was baffling to me. Like, they've been playing stupid games for years in terms of letting these things drag out. It always got done. And MICAH,
I thought it was just going to be like everything else.
Yeah. It seemed like MICAH's finally just a guy who was like, he didn't want to do it. But even then, it seemed like he really didn't want to leave. Like, seemed like he was legitimately sad about leaving.
Yeah. I think it bizarre. It's a good gig for him there. I mean, he was a star in Dallas. I mean, that's a good place to be whenever you're a legit playmaker and you get all the notoriety. Like, I don't think you want to leave there, but I mean, good on him and good on kind of players in general that, he kind of stood his ground and said, like, I'm not going to be bullied and forced into something. Like, let's do this like normal business. And if we can't, then like our relationships deteriorated, and that, he was willing to move on, which is tough. And like the hope there as a player is that it doesn't affect him, psychologically and emotionally, like, because that is a real piece to it as well. Like, all right, like you're moving, you're doing all this stuff, and you have to deal with what that is to go to a new place, get comfortable, and go out there and still perform.
Yeah, and the week before the season too. I mean, you don't get a whole lot of time. I mean, I know he knows Jordan Love. Like, I'm sure that helps you get the lay of the land. He knows Green Bay a little bit, but at the same time, that's to uproot all that a week before the season. I mean, I do wonder how much that affects him like early in the year in terms of not just playing time, but just like where he's at mentally. I mean, I don't really think that will be too bad. I assume he's going to come out and just be his normal self. But like
his
you said,
position, at least, his position probably, you think if it's a quarterback or a wide receiver, like it's a lot tougher in that. But his position now, it's like, all right, get him in like simple situations, especially early on. I think the fact that they have 2 games back to back, like really close, a Sunday and a Thursday, like he's going to get into it really quick, right? It's like not a lot of time to think. Let's just get in the playbook. Let's know what we're doing. I do think probably early on they have him just on the edge, but I could see him being that one of those 3 linebackers as well, and just doing a lot of blitz packaging, moving him onto the line, doing some different things. I don't think Hafley is afraid to go to a 3-4 at times. Even, he might just shift that away. So I'm excited to see how they use him in this defense in so many different ways.
Well, and Dusty, you've been sharing a bunch of clips on your Twitter too. Like, you see the versatility that comes with Micah Parsons. Like, where do you think he actually even is the best pass rusher? Like, is it from the edge? Because a lot of these highlights you have, like, he's lined up at nose tackle getting to the quarterback.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I'm with Mason on it, where I do think early on, I do think the early returns first, honestly, maybe until the bye, right? They got the week 5 bye. I wouldn't be shocked if it's simple. I mean, Hafley in his bones. I mean, every defensive coordinator wants to do this, is win with 4. Win with 4 up front. It's easy. You can do more stuff on the back end that way as well. Like, you keep that simple. I do feel like it's simplified a little bit. What we saw from Hafley, he wanted to do that last year. Hafley started the year wanted to do that. And then as it went on, he couldn't win. He got more complex. So I feel like this year, they start out the year, like you said, Mason, a little simpler. He's on the edge. They'll move him around a little bit. They've got that mug stuff they'll use, but I don't think they're going to want to overwhelm him that much early on. So it will be kind of like you're the edge rusher. When they go to wide 9, we'll kick you in a little bit. We'll probably see some of that mug in the B gap, but probably not a ton early on. And then after the bye, I feel like it's fully unleashed. But I do feel like it's maybe a more simplistic version of that playbook early, and they start mixing and matching because that is a guy. I mean, if you stand him up over the B gap with Edge Cooper and you're not sure which of those guys is coming, which way they're coming from, you can drop MICAH if you need to. Not that you want to do that all the time. Like, you can get really creative. I just feel like that's a post-bye week thing.
Dusty, can I just chime in that
yes.
if I'm any of these other teams and I see MICAH and Edge lined up like that, I might pee myself a little bit. I got to be honest.
Brother, a month ago, I was talking myself into Isaiah Simmons and Edge Cooper, and I was getting excited.
Yeah, right. We're like, oh man, yeah, Isaiah Simmons could be a real bump.
Athletic freak. Yes.
They don't make guys like that, you know.
Micah Parsons going to be a gunner on this Packers special teams. Watch.
He could. He's one of the fastest guys on the defense. We got Dusty Eively on the Mason Crosby Show. You can find him at Dusty Eively on Twitter. He's with the Acme Packing Company. Is where you can find all of his stuff as well. But yeah, what do you think they're going to do on the back end? Because that's what I thought instantly as well with like those corners and the secondary. I feel like that frees up a lot of that. What you're going to do, calling those defensive. We go in cover 2. Is there going to be more man on the outside? Like in my opinion, like if you got a pass rush like you expect to have, you jam those receivers at the line of scrimmage. Don't let them get free releases, and then you play some like kind of shell 2 coverage with your safeties. Because especially when you have Keyshawn Nixon and Nate Hobbs that are physical, strong defensive backs, let them get their hands on guys early and let MICAH just do his work. Do you expect to see a lot more of that this year?
Oh, 100%. I mean, Valentine's is a smaller guy as well, but that dude wants to hit. I mean, Hafley wants to press. Hafley wants to be physical. Like if you look, I think YouTube's got some of these. You can go on YouTube and you can search like Jeff Hafley coaching clinic, and Hafley's got coaching clinics on like that are an hour long on hand position on jamming guys off the line. Like that's what Hafley wants to do. Like you said, you can do that. It's harder to do that if you don't love your corner room and the pass rush doesn't get home. That opens that up. I mean, in all this offseason, one of my big things has been I don't know what they're going to do at their linebacker spot, right? Because you've got like they brought in Simmons, you got a couple guys, what McDuffie is. What's at their linebacker spot going to be? They got safeties. They got a couple guys that can roll into the box if they want to. So now you can roll if you want. Something that's happened in the league. It's been in college for a while anyway. 3 safety looks, you're rolling a linebacker down. You can get really creative on the back end. You change that picture just a little bit post snap to cause hesitation of the quarterback. And now that hesitation is going to kill you because you got Micah Parsons and Edge Cooper coming off a stunt. I think you can, I wouldn't be shocked. I think that what they're going to want to do, press man or press on the outside, fall back, some kind of, he loves the spot drop zone stuff too, but I think they're going to press, they're going to be physical, they're going to switch up the safeties, they're going to roll a bunch of stuff on the back end. And then again, like probably 4 up front to begin with, but then get real creative with some of the stunts and stuff up front. I think is probably how they're going to want to roll this year.
You guys are so football smart.
Just talking ball.
Just talking ball. It's unbelievable.
We're diving into the weeds. I see it against the Lions team, especially with their run game. And what they like to do in play action is rolling down to a 5-man front a lot. Either all of them with their hand down or rolling one of the linebackers into different spots. Because you got to get 5 into that line if they're trying to run the ball on you a lot. So kind of how I see it going in this week 1 is you're putting Micah Parsons, maybe not even every down to start because you got to see how his health is and you do play on Thursday, but you're getting him on the edge and then you put McDuffie right in the middle of that defense, not forcing him to cover a lot on the edges, and then you have Cooper and Quay just covering anything out of the back end, the tight ends, and they're kind of working on the outside. I mean, when you think about that front now. And we were talking about like Devontae Wyatt, 5 sacks last year, playing 14 games. Like he was on a roll early, got his ankle banged up, came back, had a couple good sacks at the end. That type of guy is going to free up this pass rush as well. And I mean, it's just exciting. It's exciting times to look at this defense right now.
It is. I mean, even guys like, and that's the interior of the line that's a question mark. Clark's gone. That stinks. He had a down year last year, that injury. Devontae Wyatt, like I said, I like what Wooden looked like in the preseason. He looked like he changed his body a bit. Like he looked pretty good. Even a guy like Brinson flashed, the rookie Brinson flashed a little bit as well. And like you said, the way just the math that stuff works up front, like someone's getting free. Someone's getting a lighter assignment than they would have otherwise because you have Micah Parsons. You've got Edge Cooper potentially walking down a little bit as well. They did a bunch of that stuff in preseason. That was like it's like a 4-3. It was like a 4-3 under that they walked down a linebacker. So it did create like that kind of 5-man surface there too. And you can get as creative as you want to be with that stuff. And now if you have, and even just the mugged up MICAH stuff, you get MICAH mugged up in the A gap. A lot of times, like you've got maybe a running back that sniffer where they're sitting up there. You've got maybe help. Usually you want the center to do something like that. You're bringing everything interior at that point. Like everyone's got eyes in the middle if you've got Cooper and MICAH there, which means like the interior of the defense, you still have to worry about that. But that gives you more opportunities on the outside as well. So no matter where you put him, it changes the math of what they can do on offense just wherever they line him up, which changes what you can call everything. He unlocks things that were never truly possible unless you have a guy like that.
Yeah. Dusty Eively joining the Mason Crosby show. Over under sacks for Rashawn Gary at 7.5. What are you calling?
Oh, brother, give me the over. Give me the over.
Right.
Let's go.
I love it.
I am so on board with this one. I love it. I mean, I don't know that Rashawn Gary is necessarily a better player, but obviously playing with better players makes you a better player. And I don't think it's just Rashawn Gary. I think we're all worried about the secondary, right? And Nate Hobbs and his health. And this makes the secondary better because the less time a quarterback has to sit back in the pocket, the less time he has to pick you apart or for wide receivers to get that separation. I think this helps everybody.
Well, and if you have, to the point earlier, if you've got cornerbacks that are willing to press and throw that off, now your cornerbacks who weren't able to do that, if you weren't getting pressure before, you're able to disrupt timing on that stuff a little bit more, which gives a little more time for your pass rush to hit home. Like it all helps each other out.
All right. Well, let's jump to the other side of the ball for a moment. Just before we let you go, because they do play offense as well. So what do we think? And we talked a little bit about that. Is there added pressure, different things? Whenever you're in the locker room, you don't feel any of that, right? Like they're not going to feel it. But I think from the outside, it's like, okay, there's a little bit of pressure for Matt LaFleur and this offense to do their thing so that this defense can get after it. And I kind of look back at like 2011, right? We had a bend don't break type defense, a lot of turnovers, had a great pass rush, all of those things. But our offense was putting teams in passing situations really early because we jump up on them 20 points, right away. So, I mean, do you see that if this offense can be that type of offense, like what is that gonna mean for this team if they can get this thing clicking early? And is there any added pressure for Jordan Love, for this receiving core to kind of get that thing moving? Or they're probably going to run the ball quite a bit, right, and try to control that clock. So just talk a little bit about the offense and what you see them doing here this season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it changes the approach that much. I mean, and you would know better than me in terms of like the what that means to the locker room. I mean, it's outside noise. How much that impacts like the inside locker room, I don't know. I mean, I think almost to me, like if you're looking at it, from the outside, which I clearly am, the noise is one thing. I think in terms of what they're able to do on offense, that almost frees them up a little. It's less pressure. This is one of the big
things. Exactly what I say. It's freedom.
Yeah, well, one of the things with LaFleur last year, right? Like LaFleur last year has fourth down stuff, and then you can dig into that a little bit. I don't think it was as bad as it looked like, but he was less aggressive on fourth down last year than he had been in any year since he was in Green Bay. And that was, is this a shift in philosophy? Well, if you've got MICAH Parsons,
top 5 defense last year. It's like they were great on defense.
Yeah, you've got Josh Jacobs, you got Matthew Golden, you've got maybe a line that we'll see how the line shakes out, but maybe a line you think is a little better up front than it was last year. So maybe you can get some of those tough yards. If it's 4th and 3 at the plus 45, maybe you're going to go for that this year when you wouldn't last year, because we like our offense, we like our guys up front a little bit more, and we also got MICAH, and we got, Edge Cooper too is another guy. I've talked about him a lot. He was injured all training camp last year. They slow ramp up to him in the season because he was injured. Yep. As soon as he got up to speed, he got injured again, and then they slow ramped him up again. He's coming in 100% this year. So now you've got Edge Cooper. You don't know what he was, but he was like last year you didn't know exactly what it was. Then we found out he's a demon. You got him, you got Parsons, you've got a defense you like, you've upgraded, I think, the corner room. You've got McKinney, you know what McKinney is now. You didn't know what you had in Evan Williams last year. You get Evan Williams now. I think that frees you up offensively to go for it in situations and do things. And then this one of the trends around the league is you're not only going for it on 4th down, but that changes your 3rd down, right? Like you may run on 3rd and 7 because you're getting a light box because you're going for it on 4th. And that's something I don't think they were doing last year. I think it opens up a bunch of doors for and maybe that's just me again, how the noise affects the pressure on but I think it frees them up in a way that maybe they didn't feel that freedom last year.
Yeah. Like when we talk about pressure, it's like you bring in a good player for a team that's There's no pressure. You're just
No.
like, oh my gosh, like we just added another piece. Like, yeah, Micah Parsons, exceptional, all that. But in that locker room, they're still gonna kind of bust on him, and like they're gonna bring him in. They're gonna talk trash about how much money he's making. They're gonna try to bring him into the culture and into the space, and that's what's gonna be good for him. Like you can't elevate him to a spot where then it's like, all right, like now it's like this different, it's a different piece for him. You bring him in and you say like, all right, let's do our 111th. Let's go out there. Like you are going to be a piece of this awesome team that we've built, and let's go out in there and try to win every game 1 week at a time. Let's knock it out. So I think if they handle it that way, and he's not, this elevated piece where they're just like, oh man, if like we're going to be as good as Micah goes. No, right. It's like, Micah, you are the piece, the final piece of this puzzle that now we're going to collectively go out there and dominate.
No, I think that's it. And I think the way Hafley ran this last year, I think with the way he mixed and matched, I think they know. I think everyone in that room knows what the difference he's going to make, but also that they've done this without him. They don't necessarily need him to come in and make this thing work. And I think Micah sees hopefully sees the situation he's coming into and knows what he can kind of add to it instead of being like, oh, I have to be the dude. Like he's going to be good, but he doesn't have to be the dude, I think, for this to be good. And hopefully I think everyone in the room should know that.
Amazing.
Awesome. Dusty Eively joining the Mason Crosby show. You can check him out at Acme Packing. Is it Acme Packing Company?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
At Dusty Eively on Twitter. Anything else you want to plug or throw out there like that you got going in the works?
Listen, buddy, I think it's all going to be Micah Parsons from here on out, man. I had a piece in the works I was writing earlier in the day when the news broke about Darian Kennard. I had this big film piece about Darian Kennard. Like no one wants to read that now, man.
Scrap that one.
At some point that'll probably happen. I got a piece up now on
is there any film of Parsons destroying Kennard, like in a Cowboys Eagles sort of?
Honestly, dude, probably. I'll probably look that up. I'll look that up when we're done. Yeah, I got a film piece on Parsons up now at Acme Packing Company, and then I mean, from now into the season, it's probably just going to be how many different ways can I write about Micah Parsons is the way this is going to go.
All right, last question before we let you go. What number do you think Parsons is going to rock? Do you think he's going to try to get his 11?
My two favorites are 23. He was 23 in high school, so give him 23. Like the other one would be, I know Green Bay. Mason, you probably can speak to this better than I can. Green Bay number 1 is unofficially retired. Like it's not actually retired, but it was like the Curly Lambeau number.
Yeah.
Reed wanted to be number 1. Reed was going to be number 1 when he came in. That was how it was announced, and he's 11. Give Reed 1. And then give Parsons his 11, or just give Parsons the 1. Like let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Just give him the 1.
How about 0?
Give him 0. I'd love a 0. I'd love
0.
a 0.
I could see 0.
Tight.
Yeah. I'm okay. I'm in. I'd be in on 0.
I'm in.
Awesome. I finally did something right.
You did it. All right, Dusty, this was really
awesome.
Appreciate you. Yeah.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. That's Dusty Eively, Acme Packing Company. He is fantastic. I can't wait to see Parsons destroying Kennard. He's definitely going to find that now. No doubt about it. Mason, can you believe that's it? Like extra points are next, man. Like, do you want to stay another hour?
We had a dial in today.
Hang out?
I mean, yeah, we built this thing up to like breaking down the film here in this last segment. So we are deep into the Micah Parsons, what he's going to be for this team. But I do want to reiterate that, remember, he is a piece. Like this is a 111th. It's part of a team. Yep. It's not like the NBA. It's not like that. He can't do it all himself. So whenever he fits in where he fits in and they put him to work, it's going to take all of them to go out there and do it together. So
no doubt.
But he is an important piece, and I think it potentially could be that final piece that they were really looking for.
This is the Mason Crosby Show presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. We're in the fan studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. We are live on YouTube. So many people chiming in. I love it. Don't be strangers. Roll call. Check in on YouTube if you are checking us out at the Fan Milwaukee. Mason's extra points are next.
That's right.
What's on Mason Crosby's mind today? It's time for Extra Points, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nelles on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan.
Well, you know what I'm thinking is I'm happy to be alive and be in this world and be a Packers fan, former player. And I think all the time. So it is Friday as camp's breaking. All this stuff is going down. What would I be doing in Green Bay, Wisconsin? You know, if I were still playing there, I would definitely be trying to hit up Micah Parsons and say, like, just see if he was a golfer, you know, because usually on Friday, I usually golfed, you know, on the Friday after cut downs, you make the team. It's exciting. Probably be down in Kohler. And I'd be like, hey man, like, you know, if you need any lessons, just let me know. You know, that's how I make friends.
Grab the sticks.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So yeah, I'm so excited. This was a great show today. It was last minute. I mean, at 4:00 last night, we're rolling. It's like, all right, who do we call? Who do we get on? Who we do it? Like, and what a great rundown and how it kind of built up to Dusty there, kind of breaking down the film, telling us like all the different ways that they might be able to use him. He does a great job of kind of looking at that film and that tape and really, you know, dialing it in. So Tommy, you know, great suggestion with Andrew Brandt, getting him on and just talking about like kind of that business side, like what this means.
I have one question for you. That was a requested question from my brother. Because you golfed with Vince Carter yesterday. Is that correct?
I didn't end up golfing. No, I didn't golf.
Whoa! What the heck? What did he pull out or something?
Yeah, they changed. Changed groups on me.
Okay. Well, never mind. My question stinks now.
Sorry.
That's hilarious.
Well, hey, it was a great time. I'm glad to be back, and everybody enjoy the long weekend, Labor Day weekend. We won't be on Monday, but it was an awesome show today, and we are all living in Micah Parsons' world. And it is the Green Bay Packers time to now go dominate. And when we talk to you again on Tuesday, it is regular season, game week 1.
Yes, it is. Yes,
and we will
is.
be
Let's
talking
go.
all things Packers and Lions. And, you know, we'll still talk about our Brewers and, you know, how great the Badgers defense is. So
the best.
Really, y'all enjoy your weekend. Stay safe out there.
He is Mason Crosby. My name is Mitch Thunder Nelles. Tommy Wirtz is here as well. We are the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. We're in the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Hey!
I was